Robert Dumas, my Uncle Bob, was born in October 1925 in Long Lake, Minnesota, to Edward and Beatrice Dumas. They lived on a farm that sat alongside Old Highway 12. Bob was the third of 5 children and grew up working on the farm. In time, the traditional farm slowly evolved into an apple orchard. The apples were sold alongside gas and oil at the market along the highway. When Bob is not working on the farm, he fills his time with tinkering in his basement workshop. What got you started doing all this tinkering? I mean, where did that come from?
I was born with it. In our family, I was the tinkerer and the builder. Just the smell of wood being cut agreed with me. Airplane kits, you know. And then when radios first came out, crystal sets, one-tube sets, and from there it was a natural progression to be a ham radio operator.
Bob still enjoys practicing his Morse code. During World War II, Bob enlists in the Marines because he feels they have the best-looking uniform. His sister Lorraine introduces Bob to her friend Kay Gleason, whom he marries. Bob and Kay buy their own farm across the road from the family farm and start a family. In his free time, Bob puts his tinkering to good use, building things for his kids, including what he calls his infernal contraptions. The infernal contraptions include an electric center pivot helicopter, a backyard zip line, and go-karts.
I wanted an airplane. At the time, couldn't afford it, so next best thing, I bought a junk airplane engine, got it going, and put it on a huge toboggan. And it was sort of like a snowmobile, except it was run by propeller instead of tracks, treads. I was demonstrating it to the Boy Scouts on Lake Minnetonka. And so I got out with this one little guy. I'd been 3 trips already. And I get out there and I said, "We're coming in pretty fast now. When I tell you to push the right brake," I had 2 handles with outriggers that would dig in so you could swerve. And he was so petrified he didn't touch a thing. We hit the dock going 60 and the propeller sheared off. And all the other Boy Scouts ran home and I sold the airplane engine.
Eventually, Bob does buy an airplane, and he attaches skis to it so he can land on a nearby frozen lake. Over the years, Bob has volunteered for several restoration projects around Minneapolis and St. Paul. He spent 5 years helping restore steam locomotive 328, which had been sitting in a Stillwater, Minnesota park. The train is currently being prepared to run along the St. Croix River. Bob spent several years helping to restore trolley cars for the Lake Harriet Trolley, which runs between Lake Harriet and Lake Calhoun. He not only did much of the woodwork on the cars, he also helped lay track and volunteered as a conductor. Many of the cars that were found and restored were in very bad condition or had been used for other purposes and had to be converted back to trolley cars. When divers discovered the scuttled remains of what had been the water taxi Minnehaha on the bottom of Lake Minnetonka, Bob was involved with the restoration and once again did much of the woodwork.
But I would buy old church organs. They would never use any part of an old organ when a church bought a new one, because the guy that built new organs said that they weren't good enough. And pipes, they don't go bad. They just go forever. So I would get an old organ for $200. Most of the stuff here I built from scratch. Some of the originals are so expensive, it's more fun to make them too. Yeah, this was the entertainment before TV and radio. They call them reproducers because they played exactly as the artist intended. Loud and soft, slow and fast. Okay, this is known as a forsetzer. This black object was rolled up to any piano and you would center these little wooden fingers over the keys. They were originally pumped by foot, but I electrified this one. Yeah, this is a copy of Wurlitzer's 165 organ. The real ones are, again, quite expensive, so I built this one using spare pipes and other parts I had around.
All the figures and trim for this and some of the other musical devices were carved by Bob.
I run out of something to do all the time. Now, boredom is sort of a bad thing for old guys. The reason behind all this is that I've always wondered what I was meant to be. And so I keep trying new things, thinking, maybe that's what I'm supposed to do.
Well, I think that's why we fit together. I feel the same way. I was always just so good and could never get really good. And I wanted to try everything. And I thought, I'm going to find something I'm going to be really, really good at. And, you know,
It's getting
taking
late. You better find it pretty quick.
I'm going to be a Grandma Moses who starts at 90.
So we found that, yeah, we don't want to do the same thing a lot. Even heaven sounds chancy. Can you imagine doing something forever, playing a harp or whatever they do in heaven?
Oh,
God,
you
I
always
wouldn't
wanted
like
to play
that.
the harp.